Hey everyone, welcome to Murder Moose. I am Rod, and this beautiful motherfucker sitting like next to me. All right.
We do it every time.
It's backwards, man. I'm reversed.
Just do this.
And I just sound like I'm trying to take a poop and can't. It's Josh, WRB, you beautiful fuck. We are Murder Moose, and we are part of the Slash and Cast podcast.
It's time for Murder Moose, man. Oh wait,
dude, I have again. That's more of the noises. I watched Beast with the wife yesterday, and that's
how was that? I haven't watched it yet.
It's fun. It kind of reminded me of that alligator movie with the dude from Prison Break that he did years and years ago. Not the main guy, the brother who was in prison, and that's kind of like it would remind me of. Idris Elba's awesome as always, and
he can't not be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I just watched the 3,000 Years of Longing with him in it, and it was all right. It's definitely like one of those. It feels like an in-between movie, like exactly when it came out was when it was supposed to come out, because it was like not amazing but not great, because there's wicked actors, so just kind of like here you go.
Well,
whatever.
That was kind of Beast, man, because like it was Idris Elba's really good, but like the CG tiger or lions still like are like close, but they're like
like the bear in Prey. Or
no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not even nearly that bad.
Okay,
but
good.
Like it's the like you can tell, even when it looks pretty decent, like you're like, oh, it's CG, right?
Yeah.
And so like there's a lot of that in that film, and it's like
Rod's got to do this to his camera.
No, I need to sit up straight. That's my bad posture. That's all that is.
But your camera's like pointed at your stairs, not at you.
I mean, I could do this and just move.
There you go. Now you're centered. Rod, look at
Josh!
If I go to you. Okay, let's get over these pre-show jitters.
Me and Josh we're on our periods today, and we're both like,
Rod was being a bitch, and then I was being a bitch right back. I was like, what? You're a bitch? Well, I'm a bitch too.
We're like bitch. We're old and cranky.
It's been busy for both of us at work, and I think we're both feeling it. And we're not communicating like we just don't communicate well. It's an ADD thing, and we're both ADD, and we're both just assume shit, and then it's like, what? Come on.
Yeah, we're silly bitches, both of us. Cuckoo. But it's funny. So I got to tell you, it makes me laugh before we talk about the movie. My wife, I was streaming on Saturday, and I'm like, oh, you got to go buy tickets for that. And she's like, my wife's like, what's that movie about? I'm like, go watch the trailer. And she pulled a Josh, as I call it, like not a Josh, but like a Murder Moose, where she went and watched the trailer, but it was for some show about Romans and barbarians coming to get them. And she's like, I don't want to see that. And then came home, and I was like, it was really good. And she goes, it looked boring. And I'm like, what trailer were you watching? And she was like, and I showed her the real trailer, and she goes, oh, I would have gone to see that. I wanted to see that. I'm like,
for which? For Barbarian.
There was some Roman
old movie.
show.
Oh no, there's actually a movie that came out this year that's called Barbarians as well.
It was it was a Netflix show about like Romans fighting off our barbarians. That like they're onto their like third season now.
Oh no way!
It reminded me of that time we tried to watch that Spiral movie or whatever the fuck that movie was called back in the day.
Dude. That was
like in the first 20 episodes or some shit. Luckily, we found something else to talk about. Like we had seen something else, and we had enough to talk about. And we're like, God damn, son, we are God. It it's amazing how proficient you and I have become at, like, you know, dealing with our ADHD on a regular basis, but sometimes it's just a fucking disaster.
It was kind of hard for me. Like, I tried to make plans with my buddy Ben to see this one Friday, and then because he's a busy guy too, he was like, "Oh yeah, oh crap," and then it didn't end up working out. But I had the like ride for cancer on Saturday anyways, and I was like trying to coordinate it because my sister and like niece and all that were doing it as well. So I was staying over, we were getting up early, going to the mountains and all that stuff. So it all worked out that I went and then hung out with my niece, and we went and grabbed theater popcorn, came back home and watched Josie and the Pussycats on the like projector and everything. So it was like a fun little like slumber party night anyways. And like did the ride for cancer, and it was a lot fucking harder than it was supposed to be.
How far did you ride?
112 kilometers, but which is like not my longest ride, but because we're in the mountains and there's so much elevation gain for me, it was so much harder. And I was wearing this jacket that I just got, and I wore it too long into the day, and it was totally making me too hot, and I dehydrated myself. And it's called bonking out, when your legs seize up and you can't move. Yeah. And I had to like dump my bike and like was on the side of the road for like 20 minutes, half an hour, like trying to get my legs to work again. And I still had like 12 kilometers left. So.
I never heard from Josh again because a moose ate him in the mountains.
It could have happened, man. But I powered through. Dude, it was emotional, man. I'm riding for my brother-in-law who lost his life to cancer last year, and his whole family's there, and you know, and I don't know, man. It was satisfying to push through and make it and do all that stuff, and I've been working hard towards that. And of course, that was the first time that it got really hard for me, was like during that thing. I'm like, this is just crazy. It was meant to be the push through and like really show me what I was doing and stuff. It wasn't supposed to be easy. So
you probably crushed your like that kind of shit because of the mental, you know, aspect of it. Like you probably had an adrenaline spike too, right? Like you probably went like your brain's like, this is for my brother-in-law, and then like you kind of crashed like on top of it being like up in the mountains and all this shit, and you're like,
and the smoke, there's like a huge fire in Jasper that's been filling the whole area with smoke for the last like week and a half. So
oh man.
Yeah.
Then like you're smoking, and so like that doesn't help. I mean, it just makes everything more complicated. Makes everything more complicated, including that fart Josh just left. So it's been like, work is like, for me, it's just been like, I'm waiting. I've been doing a lot of waiting, and it just makes me anxious because they're letting me tech lead stuff, and it's just like, okay, well, how's this going? Well, how's this going? Well, how's this? And then today it was just like, well, this is broken still. Well, this is broken. Well, fucking fix it.
I'm having to deal with, it's just like it's a massive project, and I had like another massive project that I just finished last week, which was like an annual report for an art university in Nova Scotia. And it was like 70 pages, like a huge thing. And I finished it and killed it, and they loved it and said it was the best one they've ever had and stuff. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I love like to get a praise from an art university for someone who never went to university for art, and I'm doing it. Like it's, I don't know. It makes me, that was kind of like a bucket fill moment for myself. I was like, wow, that's really, that makes me feel great.
I think like artistic ability, and then like a lot of it is natural, right? You have the eye for everything, but also like all the other adventures we've done over the years, the Waterloo's getting me, is like combines with you're just a natural, like also with our ADHD, and you're like, when we like want to do something, we're like,
yeah,
and it's like, yeah, you just super hyper focus on it, and it's just like those couple things combined, and because like if you have a little bit of natural talent, like I think you could have done a lot of shit, dude. I think you probably could have been a tattoo artist if you wanted to. I don't know how steady your hands are, but you got that.
I never drew though. That's the thing. Like I did it all on the computer, right? So
but I know it's one of those things though. Like I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of that can be learned, but not.
Oh yeah,
all of it,
totally.
right? And like steady hands and shit.
Like anything that I have learned, I know that and whatever could be, but it's just one of those things that I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in this direction, learn film and like web development. And the fact that I know all that has now got me in, like, not in trouble, like got me in trouble because I know too much. And now they're like, you better not be this good because we're going to just make you do the whole rest of the new side. I'm like, fuck.
They're like, don't threaten us with the good dude. Like that's the problem, man. Every time you do something good at work, they're like, okay, cool. Now you could do like these 7 things like that, like you have no reason to do, but they're like,
I'm kind of like the jack of all trades when it comes to like advertising and design world. And when you work at a design agency, I'm like the triple threat. Right, because we do offer all those things, but if I can be the art director as well as take care of everything for a client, it really adds value to my position as well. So they
don't have to talk to 7 people; they can get everything they want out of you.
Yeah,
just talking to you. So yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like you had much time to watch anything. I like you said, you were talking about the other Idris Elba movie, but like
that was like last week. I saw that. I just went to the theaters by myself because I was like, I haven't had like a lot of time lately.
Yeah.
But then when I do, and everyone else is busy, I'm just like, I don't want to just sit and do nothing. So I went out for dinner by myself and ate at this like Mexican place in the mall that has like really good burrito bowls, and it was like a brisket burrito bowl. And then
that's so good.
Yeah. And then I went to the theater by myself and saw that movie. So like, I don't know. I know a lot of people that are like, I've never done that. I don't have the courage to. You don't know what you're missing. You don't have to like schedule it with someone. Like, honestly, how much do you even say to the person beside you? I know there's a comfort in like it being a thing, but once you get over that hurdle, honestly, seeing a movie by yourself is like almost more enjoyable sometimes. So
that's what I mean, dude, I had a couple of like, I was like, during this fucking Barbarian.
Oh fuck, this movie is so good for that.
Dude, it we'll get into it in a second, but I mean, fuck it. We might as well get into it now. We're talking about Barbarian 2022, which I guess was first in the box office this weekend, but it only made 10 million.
10 million.
But like, it couldn't have cost more than like 8 or 9 million, probably like 10 million, like at the most.
The amount of ridiculously good decisions this movie made, and knowingly like budget decisions too. But like it made it feel like nostalgic in its decision making, and like it was. There's so many things that I can't wait to talk about that they did.
So we're gonna do a couple things. One. We're not going to spoil any of this film until we talk, because someone asked in Discord about it, and they're like, and I'm like, you can't give anything away with this movie without giving away the movie.
That's why my poster looks like this. Like, I almost did a few other things, and I've seen a few other alt posters that I was like, fuck you, why are you putting that on there? Come on, don't do that, right? Like,
well, dude, I noticed like even the trailer, like.
It's so deceiving.
It shows a lot of, dude, it shows almost the final, it shows basically the final moments of the film, but you have no fucking context to anything in it. Cause I watched it with my wife after I got back, and I'm like, oh, but you don't get any of the things that are like, that've gotten you there. So let me read the synopsis real quick. A woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. Like I said, we won't spoil anything until we warn about spoilers. The trailer has I mean, it's most of the trailer is the conversations between Tess and Keith. Tess is played by Georgina Campbell, and Keith is played by Bill Skarsgård. And man, I have to say, Skarsgård is wonderful in this film. And even if I can't. There's so much you can't say about this film. Because,
and my buddy Richard Brake is in it too. He was just at the Calgary Horror Con, and I was taking his pictures and stuff, and hanging out with him and his buddy from all the what are they?
From the Monsters, wasn't it?
But he's been in like a ton of the other Rob Zombie movies with him too, right? Like they're the
dude. He was the best part of 31, and it wasn't even close. That opening sequence that was in black and white with him.
It was his makeup too, because he had like a really gnarly look to him, right?
Yeah, dude, and that guy plays fucking menacing really well.
He's just he knows that his face. I don't know. He knows what he's doing in the horror world, and I didn't know he was in this, so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I was just like, oh shit, hey.
Yeah. I mean, the trailer does show. It doesn't show a whole lot outside of like. Georgina Campbell and Bill Skarsgård, but it does briefly show Justin Long, who again he just always plays a character that you want to fucking choke this piece of shit. You're like
I felt like it was a perfect mix for him though, because he got to play just like he's a douchebag like through and through, but like he's also the comedic relief in how dumb he is as well. So like. Yeah. He's a comedy actor, but he's also been in a lot of horror movies as well. Yeah. And I think casting him was so fucking perfect. I love seeing his face. He's kind of disappeared for a little bit, and he's just as good as everything else I've seen him in, like in the horror genre. So,
dude, I like him as the fucking gay dude in what was it? Zack and Miri Make a Porno. I think it was. He played the gay dude where he's going off about all the gay porn he's made. Fucking hysterical, man. Like
that whole movie's hysterical.
Yeah, I know. I did, dude. The like when they're doing anal in the coffee shop, and she's like shits all over the dude.
Oh man,
it's just fucking wonderful. And
he's in Clerks 3 as well.
Oh, nice. What was he? Didn't he like come through and like I think he ordered in Clerks 2, right, or something like that? Like I don't think he was in it very much though.
Well, he's in Tusk, right? Like he's done a lot of stuff with
he's on with Kevin Smith,
but
because his like big Hollywood dude, like the last really big movie I remember seeing him in was like what was it the fourth Die Hard movie?
That was a really big one for him, but he killed it in that one. I loved that movie. For like just going fully out there on like story and just being like, you know what, we don't care because this is Die Hard, but it worked. And then the next one after that was like the worst one ever. So
dude, it was like the biggest problem with that movie was that it was rated PG-13 and it didn't stop the movie, right? But it was a thing. You're like, you're making a PG-13 Die Hard movie, and then now I'm just thinking because like the new Rick and Morty came out last night, and it was all about like they were like the subplot was with Summer doing Die Hard, and it was fucking hysterical and like whatever. But this movie though, man, it's just again we can't talk much about it because it's. Like someone put it on Twitter and I saw it and I'm like, oh shit, this movie changes movies on you. It's like really
like 3 different times.
Yeah, it's like 3 different movies almost, right? Like it switches around and like does a lot of things and it fucks with you. And it always keeps you dude, any other horror movie or most other horror movies, there would be things in the trailer that shouldn't be in the trailer. And that when they are in the movie, you're like, oh, this was trailer. No, see, and it's another thing where I had to
I hate when that fucking shit happens. Yeah. Seriously, like when don't show third act bullshit in a trailer. That's all I gotta say. Just don't. I don't mind.
I don't mind showing third act stuff in a movie, in like a trailer, but like just like we were talking about, stuff in this trailer for this has no context, and it's why I didn't watch the trailers, because I was like, I don't want this shit. Like I think the last time I saw it, it popped up before X or something like that, right? Or one or the other.
And I saw the new. I don't think I had seen it, honestly. This trailer that they showed for Pearl right before this movie played.
Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of the right decisions and gnarly decisions this movie made, Ty West is making in his movies right now, and they're very similar in the like, it's gonna go there. And I feel like that's almost the new meta of like horror. It's like, it's gotta fucking be kind of gnarly now in order to like rise above the rest of the noise we're seeing in this.
Dude, this movie was written, directed by someone named Zach Kreger.
Yeah, he's a comedian.
We talk about it all the time in this show, but like his fucking directing credits, he did a movie called Miss March in 2009, and then he's done a bunch of The Whitest Kids You Know stuff.
Yeah, I know him as an actor and not as like a director. So I love to see it. It's like the Jordan Peele's of the world and stuff, and like he's I don't know, like I knew him from The Whitest Kids You Know, or right? And
Whitest Kids You Know, yep.
And
because he started directing stuff in there too.
Yeah. There's a few other movies that I've seen him in, and like TV shows and stuff that
he was in the movie, I guess, too. I don't remember seeing him in it. Maybe he might have been the guy talking to Justin Long in the bar, but I'm not completely sure.
I don't remember seeing him, but
yeah, I think he might have been the guy he was talking to in the bar. It's the only thing that like
Miss March. That's the one, because he wrote that as well. Like that was like a Whitest Kids You Know movie, right? So
wasn't it? I've never seen Whitest Kids You Know. I know of it, but I've never seen it.
I remember seeing Miss March in theaters with Ben, and it's
nice.
It's just like a Playboy movie. It's like one of those teenage coming of age, horny teenage comedy shit, you know?
Dude, I wouldn't say this movie doesn't have a lot of like really, really like, it's not like throwing 87 jump scares at you, but it builds up tension, and the 2 or 3 that are big ones that are in this film fucking destroyed me, man. I was like,
there's so much anticipation and anxiety that this film does so well, though. Like it that going down into the darkness and having it just be a thing, like the budget for this had to be cut like in half by them making it go down into that little dungeon, because then you could film that fucking anywhere, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's it's set in Detroit. I don't know where they filmed it. It looks like Detroit, because Detroit's a fucking shit house of a fucking city, right? There's not much of Detroit left. It's all like I think one of the better shots, like the better like really weird feelings of the whole movie is like the Tess gets to this house when it's raining at night and it's completely dark out.
I love that they show the neighborhood at night though. Yeah. It's just like, it's just dark and it's unassuming. It's really well done.
And then you get it in like when she is like leaving in the morning, and it's just like, you're like, oh, this is bad. And then you get the job, the lady she's interviewing with for that job, and she's like, you're staying where?
So like as an audience, and then her getting put through that and getting a warning too. Like for me sitting there, I was like, oh man, they're layering this like a cake. Yeah. And like she's going back anyways. And the amount of like times that they'll show you something and mislead you in that first act, where there's like that the person running at her down the street or something like that, and it's like it's super unassuming at this point. You don't know what is happening, and it's like, what the hell? And the way this unfolds and like seriously tricks you like 3-4 times into thinking different things and then you think it's another thing, and then it's not even that. It's something completely different.
Yeah.
So well done. It's fun. It's
and
disturbing but fun.
Yeah, they do these weird, like, they give you information like we talk about all the time on here, where we're like, we don't want everything like kind of unveiled out to us, but they give you these weird like pieces of information. You're like, oh, and then like I don't want to say stuff like specifics.
It's hard right now. We're only 25 minutes in, dude.
This movie is not easy to talk about like without spoiling shit. Yeah, and it's like, because there aren't. It's one of the better horror trailers, even like after going back and like I said, and seeing it after watching the movie, you're like, okay, thank God, because it does such a good job of kind of taking an idea and running with it, but then like it's like in football when you have a trick play and like you think that one guy has the ball and he's running and everyone's running after him, but the ball is really going the other way, like another player has it, and it's like complete like misdirection. This movie misdirects like 18 times and it does it. Yeah, it's that sleight of hand, and it does, again, I can't, but it does these things and you just go, damn it. It does a lot with like it does a lot with a minimal score. It does a lot with like minimal cast. It fucking, I hate every cop in this movie is a bunch of fucking pieces of shit. I hate them. Just like I really don't like cops in real life either. Most of the time, you're like, you guys fucking suck.
Well, you live in America. I think it's a little different, right? Like I've had more pleasant experiences and helpful experiences in Canada with the police than I have any kind of negative experiences. But whenever I see it depicted in movies, and especially places like Detroit, I've seen over and over in movies. Yeah. I don't know how it is, but like the amount of like just it was the most annoying scene when she was asking for help and just getting profiled and just let down completely. It was very,
I don't know if I've seen Georgina Campbell anything, but man, she gives me such like Rosario Dawson vibes. Like that's who
so good in this.
She's awesome, dude. She's gorgeous and she's real fucking good. She's been doing shit for a whole long time. It looks like a lot of TV stuff.
It's all about like the eyes and the like. Justin Long has a really good like scared face and like terrifiedness, like straight from Jeepers Creepers all the way to this. He still has it, the like, but she has like a genuine, like it's right on the poster here. That is a terrified face. And it if you don't have that, and if you can't believe that the person you're watching on screen is genuinely terrified, because I was like, like the way they slowly show you what's behind them, or the tropes of the flashlight not working and them run, like, oh my God, it works so well on so many levels. Yeah. And that minimal score that they did, just the like 80s synth sound, amazing. So perfect. It added to the ambiance of this movie so fucking well. And the overall package with that weird pullback that they did, like when you enter a room, all of a sudden the camera goes and like quickly goes into like the wide angle look. It was like jarring, but it was like an artistic choice that added to the weirdness feel of that particular scene, and it was so cool.
He also did the fucking grocery store scene, which was like the weird like camera behind, like directly behind him.
Yeah, like first person.
Yeah,
or third
like,
person rather. Yeah,
and it was just like, it was the least steady cam. Like it looked like it felt like they were like just like walking behind the motherfucker with the camera. And there's a reason why they did that. But you're like, this is such an interesting shot that you don't ever see, you know.
But they also did first person with just the arms and stuff too. Super wide angle when they're in the underground and stuff. And it just all of the cinematography in this, like combined, made for such a fun experience. It felt almost like a ride at some parts. Like, yeah.
Dude, and you know how it is, like with like, I mean, you've bought a house, right? And it's like you see pictures of a house online, and rooms always look way bigger than they are because this house looks tiny in real life, but they
the wide angles.
They make it such a character in this and make it feel like it's significantly bigger and then like more terrifying. And then there's like,
I keep thinking back to that first scene when Justin Long's character gets back to the house and then gets the measuring tape out. It was so fucking funny because it just like it shows so much about his character and just how shitty of a person he is. But it's also hilarious because he has no idea what he's doing and you do. And that's the thing that this movie does so well. It gives the audience these tidbits and then makes someone like back into what you know could potentially be happening to this character. It's like, like,
well, this movie, it does something that's wonderful. Is it lets your imagination be like the most horrifying thing in this movie, right? They keep giving you enough tidbits and enough like, you know, information. They're like, let your brain go fucking it. It's again, I will never be as scared of you showing me shit that as I am when my brain is like just making shit up and going, oh yeah, this could be happening, this could be happening, this could be happening. Oh shit, you know, that kind of shit. And you're like, and this movie does that. It doesn't like, it shows more than say like Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity or something like that. But it almost feels like a found footage film at times, just like where there's like a third person.
Until it gets really bloody. Like really, and it shows it holds just a little bit longer than you think it's going to, and you're just like, oh shit. Oh shit.
There's some gore in this movie that I'm like, it reminded me of like Hatchet. Yeah. You know, the Hatchet movies kind of like they're very like reminiscent, like, or is it not reminiscent? Like, I don't know what word I'm trying to say, but like that's just like reminds you of that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, damn, man, like it kind of impresses me though too. Like I hope it has another big weekend because like
I think the word of mouth is going to do nothing but good things for this movie. Like it already, like everyone that is a horror fan is raving about it because it checks legitimately all of the boxes for a horror fan and some, and because it's did your lights of your theater come on right at the end? Like,
no,
it was like so awesome, dude. Like how it ends and it goes straight to credits. The lights came on too. I was like, oh my God, that's so good. It was so fucking good.
My theater didn't have the lights go on until like during like after it switched from like, you know, showing stuff and until the credits going full, just credits, you know, and
it added to the impact of like it's fucked, it's comedic, it's whatever. It ends so well, but with the lights coming on to us, like that is so savage. That is so savage.
I was literally Googling like while the credits were starting. I was like,
oh, I heard there's potentially, or is there an end credit scene?
No, there isn't. I was Googling it because it was so dark, and it's like it's that blackness of the end of the film into the blackness of the credits with like the like I think did they have red names? Why am I thinking they had red names? I don't know. There's a lot of red, and I'm looking at your poster too. But
I did,
and I'm like,
bloody it up for sure. I'm really good at just adding a shit ton of blood to stuff. I don't
know. Oh, the blood.
I honestly like. I don't. It's definitely one of my tropes for making movie posters. I don't see a lot of other people do. I just like if I add an abundance of blood to a horror movie poster, it makes it way more horrific looking for the poster. So
I think that's like one of the things like that, like you and Creepy Duck both do, right? Creepy Duck is not afraid to put a bunch of fucking. Is that his name, Creepy Duck?
Yeah.
Or what's
does he put blood on stuff? I don't.
He does a lot. I mean, it's not like.
I think he does a lot more like smoke and atmospheric type stuff than blood.
I've seen blood stuff on his stuff though. Hasn't he? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
I'm thinking of posters and I'm thinking of blood, but like, I don't know, man. I think we just need to spoil the shit out of this. So like, we're only 35 minutes in. This might be a shorter podcast, but this movie is it's impossibly difficult to talk about without like ruining the fucking surprises of it. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone. If you haven't seen this fucking movie, stop listening, go watch the movie and then come back and listen, or watch the YouTube or whatever. But like, this movie is wonderful. If you're like, I saw people compare. It was funny. I saw people going, now I expect a crazy ass horror movie every September because this came out about a year apart from Malignant, and so like,
well, it's like it is the start of spooky season that everyone says, right? So like, it makes sense that they will slot in these movies right here. This could have got an October thing, but then it's going up against a monster, and like honestly, I think there's enough of a like, need for horror, especially around this time of year, that we should be getting more. And dude, I'm so happy that we're getting like really good shit too.
Dude, we got Pearl next week, or this week. Is it this week or is it next week? Pearl's coming out. We got Hellraiser coming out. We got
Hellraiser coming out already.
It's coming out soon. It's either at the end of this month or beginning of next month. It might be like the 14th of October or something like that, but it's soon. We got Halloween Ends coming out, and we got I think Terrifier 2.
Pearl comes out this fucking week, man. September 16th. Wow.
Well, we know what we're doing next week.
Holy shit.
I don't think Continue was in our group chat with her, and she showed something. I don't think she's even seen X yet though, so maybe I have to be like, Continue, go watch that. But like, she has problems going to see. I was at her stream today, and she's like, I want to come back. I'm like, you're more than welcome. I think she's very like, oh, they're not gonna want us. I'm like, no, we loved having you here. Come back.
What? No way. I made sure that I messaged in the group and made sure she knew that.
I know, it's us content creators. You know how it is, man. But we're spoil
busy.
This, so go watch this movie if you haven't seen it. Go watch it.
Yeah, honestly, like there. That's the spoiler. Wait. Okay, that's the spoiler.
Man, okay. I have to say right off, the Bill Skarsgard getting killed in this film made me jump like 1,000 feet into the air, like.
Well, because like the way the trailer depicts it, and the way this all unfolds in the first act, it made me think that
Bill Skarsgard was
he was setting this all up. Yeah. He looked into her, and that's why he knew the short that she was going to, and that it was tied to. But it was such a coincidence, and they really were a perfect match. It was kind of weird, and you think,
that casting of Bill Skarsgård was fucking diabolical, man. Because it's like, he's known for being fucking Pennywise, and he's like he's got this like, he's a good looking dude, but like him putting his brother's obviously known for being like hot, right? But like he's got that like, I'm Bill Skarsgård, like I play Pennywise, and my eye can go clunk.
Yeah.
And
he's also going to be the fucking Crow, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which I hope is good, man. Like the Crow is still one of those movies that like, it's such a sad movie to go watch back now because how good Brandon Lee is in that film. And you're like, damn, this kid had his life taken away from him way too fucking young. And like, after having his dad, die weirdly. And it's just like, man, fucking like, talk about cursed family. Yeah. And that's like, so we talked about it a little bit, but this is really kind of like three separate kind of movies where it's like one
right up until he dies. I still thought it was him. Yeah. Like they make you think it's him the entire fucking time. And then they just smash that out of the water. Like, no, you can't think that anymore because he's gone. He's fucking gone.
His head is about half the size it used to be, if not more. And
it is so like, that is like, they could have waited to put the fucking title up on the screen, Barbarian, and had it come up right as Barbarian, and then go on with the next, and because it turns into almost like a completely different movie after that point. Like,
I'm trying to figure out how big this motherfucker is. Because okay, that's what it is. So I was looking at the guy who plays Mother, and he's 6'8", and that fucking naked suit they had on him was horrifying.
Oh yeah,
because those titties are just like gross and but like real looking, and you're like, yeah. And it's funny because like we talked about Pearl and X a little bit, and this movie reminds me a little bit of like Pearl, because this older lady, even though I don't even think she was that old, but is just out murdering people, and you're not used to seeing like, again, another female killer, right? It's not as common, and you kind of go back and it explains a lot of why it is, but it also doesn't explain a lot. Like, this movie makes you go and sit there and goes, her father was Richard Brake, you were talking about Frank, and he's basically kidnapping women and just raping the shit out of them. And then like the homeless guy who tries to warn her at the beginning of the movie, James Butler, whose name's Andre, he's like, man, he was bringing women in there like for 40 years. And you're just like,
we were kind of talking about, like, because the whole thing with the house being a rental property for Justin Long, and like, yeah, he's upset with the fact that they only come in like right before. We were like, or the maid service or whatever. He's like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to know anything weird is going on in this house? And we're like, we got told, the audience, that it was like a 2-week period that now Georgina is down in the basement for like 2 weeks or something. We're like, how? We were trying to like piece together like that this has been going on for like, what is it, 40 years or something, or something like that. Like, how many people? Why? You know, the police being shitheads in this world really kind of shows that, you know, they're not going to go down to that area to help many people. But we were just like, how is this a thing? Like, like the double booking, how did that happen? What was the, you know, there's a few questions we had with it, but I don't know, like, it was just disturbing.
So it feels like it's been even longer than even 40 years though, because on the radio, they're talking about Nixon incorporating or like inheriting the worst economy in like 50 years or something like that when he became president. Nixon became president in 1960. I mean, he was elected in 68, was president in became in 69. So that is 53 years plus whatever in that whole thing. And so you're saying this guy was, they show like, basically they show how he kidnapped women. He comes in and acts like he's like a water dude, opens up a window, and like,
that's all they show, but that's all they have to show.
Yeah.
Because the rest, it's done so well. Fill in the blanks. We'll show you the dress way later on. You obviously know they got here. The rest of it doesn't need to be fucking filmed because
they got yeah,
exactly.
It's just like the videotape, and all you see of the videotape, because there are dozens and dozens of videotapes with like fucking like,
you hear a little bit, and that's all you need. But
all you get is Justin Long's fucking reaction.
It's 10 times better.
Yeah, and he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And you're just like, "What was on these videos?" You're like, "How bad was this shit?" And other little things like the fucking dog cages all through the hallways. You're like, so he's just like,
but he's like, "What the fuck is this?" And then he's measuring in between it still. It's so fucking, oh my God.
And it's horrifying when that fucking measuring tape gets ripped out of his hands. I was like, because
there's
like
so many times that I felt that, man.
Yeah, it's the first that Bill Skarsgård getting killed made me jump to fucking no end. And I think then like like the scene where like Justin's like fucking phone is like, or is the flashlight's not working, and it's on, and she's like, and you just keep seeing her get like closer. It almost felt like like a Japanese ghost, right? Like, like
look at this.
And like it's like disappearing and coming. The moose is moving. Being covered up by a hunky boy. I am a hunky boy, so that's why he's here, because he wants to hang out with his hunky boy. But man, like I said, it does this thing where a lot of horror movies, like I think that the stereotypical like Hollywood manufactured horror movies now are like, oh, we need a jump scare every 6 minutes or something like that.
Well,
and this movie,
honestly, I would agree with that for the most part, but I feel like this is the new meta. Like that's more like the early 2000s, late 90s horror. It was 1, 2, 3 scare, 1, 2, 3 scare. And like, I feel like we've hopefully gotten past that, and they're giving opportunities to new comedians and stuff to be like, what? And what? They're all getting it so well. This movie, it's gnarly where it goes, but I don't know, man. It does it well. It does it way too well.
I'm trying to see what its budget was put at 10.5 million, it says. So like it made just under what the budget of this film was this weekend, and I hope it does pick up the word of mouth and it goes from there, because it's a film that like is sitting there going, it does so much with not a lot, man. Like your most of your whole house or your film is in this house. I don't know if they did. I assume they did the underground stuff somewhere else, but like, man, like, because they could have. I am assuming they probably built like a replica hallway where they could do a lot of that film, and like, but man, they do so much, and like that shit is horrifying. Is like, as a 39-year-old adult, the thought of going into a basement like this, I'm like, fuck this. Like when she starts going in there, I'm like, what are you doing, woman? Why are you like? I know because Bill Skarsgard is missing, but it's like what? Fuck that. No, dude, I hate the dark now still. Like, I mean, like it's like the human nature, man. Like when you can't see things, you don't know. It's like preservation, right? You like, there could be a fucking tiger sitting there, or like a fucking lion or a bear. You don't know. So your brain goes, worst case scenario.
Or a mother.
Yeah. Or a mother. Dude, with her big saggy titties, man. Because holy shit. Also, were you assuming the same way I was assuming that bottle was filled with milk for her titties?
Yes.
Because
and like the hair that was on it, like they layered the gross factor for the audience, and then just lit it enough so you could just see how disgusting it looked, and it adds to the horror of this movie, because it's the thing you're scared of is this monstrous thing that is it's terrifying.
Yes, she's terrifying. She's huge. I mean, she fucking pulls a Kool-Aid man at the end of the movie and busts through a fucking wall. Like,
but you can't say that amount of stuff that, oh, she's never been here in 15 years. And like that, I'm like, dude, come on. Stop. Oh, there you go. Now you've lost your fucking arm. What the hell?
And then like she rips his head, and like, no, she does that to Justin Long, right? She rips his head in. Dude, before she does that, one of the most gnarly, eye-crushing scenes I've ever seen in any horror movie. It's like, usually when they do that, like blood comes out. This one they were like had like
pus.
Blood mixed with tapioca pudding or some shit like that. It's just like pouring out of his fucking eyes.
So good.
I do have to say, Tess would have been dead in this film. Like, there's no way Tess. So first Justin Long shoots her, and then like throws her. That was the thing where you're like, oh, this motherfucker is the worst. And then after he shoots her, and you're like, you piece of shit. But then he throws her off the fucking tower, and like, it's the weirdest fucking scene in the whole film. Like, because it's like, it makes sense contextually, right? But like, I did not expect her to jump off with her, because it must have been like Tess was her baby, basically, right? That's why they referred to as mother, and why like like her going along with her wanting to play mama, and like that, and you get that from so many places. Like obviously, like at some point, Richard Brake father got a videotape of how to breastfeed, because he was like impregnating these fucking like women. He was like,
I love it, like that scene in the grocery store where the grocery store clerk or lady or whatever is like helping him find the stuff. Oh, you poor thing. This is everything you're gonna need. And like he's like this saint, and he's not at all. It's the complete opposite. You want to know what that made me laugh about that whole thing? And like, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people? This motherfucker has like a jumpsuit, like oil, or a Michael Myers kind of like, jumpsuit, and it says like Carlos on it. And I'm like, then like his neighbor's like, hey Frank, come here. And he's like, yeah, we're selling our house because his neighborhood's going, and you see 50 years later, yeah, it was. But like, how doesn't this dude notice that his jumpsuit says Carlos or whatever the fuck it says, like, you're like, huh? Maybe it's just from some coworker. I don't know. I would be questioning that though. I'm just sitting there going, like, it's so like, because you only get that one flashback scene with him, and then you get to him like, like being damn near 100. Was Mother like going in there, and she was afraid of that? Like, how is he eating? That's what I don't also get, right? Like, because she was horrified of that fucking door. Like when Justin Long found the dad's door, she was like, nah, I'm good, motherfucker. I'm good. I wonder how he was eating. Well, because like right before that, they say like, she's not even the worst thing down there. And they do that layering thing again. And you like building anticipation of the like layered cake of this movie. Yeah. And like, you're terrified when he gets back to the door and you see where all those lines go that attach to that bell in the middle. And you're like, what the fuck is behind there? And then it's just my buddy. Dude. He's awesome though. He's always so good. I'm glad I got to meet him, and he was so cool in person too. But to see him again, killing it, and in a really fucked up role, really fucked up role. Well, dude, it's one of those things where it's like you have this like first act is like Tess, right? And like her and Bill Skarsgård, like Keith, and they had this weird like, it's almost like kind of like a romantic comedy that goes like a romantic drama that goes horribly wrong because of this the fucked up circumstances. Like it goes back to like what you were talking about, how like, oh, how did this happen, or these two people, and you just go, oh, it's probably because the idiots running this fucking agency aren't like, or like not like all that detail oriented, right? They're just like, yeah, we're just running it out. I mean, and they're like, they got it on multiple websites, and then they never took it off, and then they both booked it, and then honestly, it could have just been that. Like that's what we were asking, and I was just like, he employed a dumb company that just doesn't even know what the fuck they're doing, and that's it. It all was just a coincidence. Yeah, they were like cheap. Because basically he gets accused of raping a woman, and you get him going, well, I don't take no for an answer. Like you get when he's talking to his buddy who might have been the director, and then that's totally the scene. That would be the only time that that's him. You don't really see him too much because it's a dark. But that's totally the scene. Yeah. And then like, but then at the very end, when they're sitting there at the like with the homeless dude,
Justin Long's like character is AJ's like, am I a bad person? And you're like, you sitting there going, he's basically admitting to the audience that he did rape this woman, and that like it wasn't like one of those like, oh yeah, she said she wanted to and then decided later on. It is very much like heavily implied that no, he did something he shouldn't have, and maybe there's morsels of a decent human being in there because of the regret or the remorse of what he did. But then like he fucking, after Kool-Aid Man busts through the wall and goes, oh yeah, and rips the that guy Andre, the homeless man, and fucking Tess are like, I guess Keith too, Bill Skarsgård, were just like the nicest people in the world, and this, he's just like, she killed Bill Skarsgård because he was yelling. Like that's what Tess tells like AJ later on. She's like, yeah, she doesn't like yelling, and he was screaming, all the way. And dude, also, this movie sets up dread with that fucking basement door. Like it keeps going like, it's like this door is gonna close. Yeah, and you're like, oh no. And then when she goes in looking for Bill Skarsgård, you're like, no, it's when AJ Justin Long goes in and he doesn't even worry about it, and you're just like, oh no, you guys are even more fucked because you're gonna be stuck in there and you're never gonna get out. Gizmo is just losing his shit behind me.
I love it.
But, and you're just like, man, they just it reminded me like I still think the most like anxiety I've had in any movie we've watched on this podcast was A Good Woman Is Hard to Find. That movie was like anxiety.
But that was a different type of anxiety though. Like that was like
it was
like just straight up anxiety. This was like, it was
builds
like
up tension.
Oh, like it was edge of your seat. Yeah. Like it was like a ride. Like I said, like you're.
It was like 30-minute, a little more than 30-minute, like fucking like episodes of something where they like, it was like a 3-part miniseries, right? Where it's like, and it felt like they built up
and
tension.
It was short too, so it just like ends and you're like satisfied too.
Yeah, it was an hour and 42 minutes, but they build up like tension like 3 times, and then like each time is like ends up with all the crazy shit happening at the end of that, like, you know, 30 minutes, like the 3 acts, and it's just like I jumped at least twice real good, like the Bill Skarsgård getting killed, and then like at the end with her coming at just along, I'm just like
there was some like really good like jump scares that were not part of like an actual scare that got me, because it was like it's those times where you think it's a downtime, and this movie is like, it fucks with you on purpose. It's having fun with an audience. Like it knows that it has you, and then it does something that's just like, haha, fuck you. And then it's awesome.
Dude, her stealing the fucking measuring tape from him was fucking horrifying. Like, because he's just like you were talking about
his reaction too, though. Like, and the way it's filmed, you're like, oh shit, you're there with him, and you're like, oh, what's gonna be behind him? Fuck.
Yeah. After like he found her TV with the like breastfeeding video and just like real grody, gross kind of like these people, they don't say that the Andre doesn't really explain like how long they've actually like, because you don't know either, because it's like I said, that 69 is when Nixon took, like, is kind of when it seems like those flashbacks are occurring, and you're sitting there going, so this guy has been dragging women, because you have no context at that point. All you get is that it feels like she's pregnant. There's a woman down there pregnant. It might have been the mother's, you know, whatever, but like it gave me also Descent vibes, right? Because of the like, you know, the never seeing the light, and the weird like eyes, and the weird like teeth from never like, you know, taking care of your teeth.
When you learn that she comes out at night too, it's just like, like even creepier. She's just like, because it's like this whole thing too, like, like. Ugh. Dude,
they did such a good job with like taking that, just the natural frame of a big 6'8" motherfucker, and just like putting him in that space where he just looks like a complete monster, and then like making it him mother, right? And you're just like she barely fits in that fucking space, right? And which is even why it's that context of like really tall thing in really little space, and it just makes her even more horrifying, right? And it's
what did the homeless man say? He's like, he started making copies of copies of copies, and that's what you get. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's so gross.
Yeah, but it's because basically he's what I don't know is how he knows that, but like he basically was.
Yeah, how would he know women. That's more like so the audience knows. That was the like. Yeah.
I mean, because it doesn't make sense much way. I mean, but this woman would have been feral anyways, right? Because she lived underground and didn't like whatever. And so you have to go. Also, how many motherfuckers has she taken out? And this woman got a fucking like got hit by a car and like just shrugged it off. They did such a good job though too of like you feel bad for her at the end. Like she jumps off and like sacrifices herself for Tess, and it's like you're like she's a monster, but it's not her fault, right? She's not the one to blame because of like what she is. It's again going back to she's not the worst thing down there. Frank was the worst thing down there. Frank was the fucking psychopath, and you don't know how many he took, how many, like it feels like that eventually someone's going to go back into that house and like into those underneath, and there's going to be dozens of bodies somewhere under there at least, in like baby bodies and infant bodies, and you just go, Frank, you fucking Richard Brake, you were creepy as shit once again. And he was probably in the movie for like what 10 minutes maybe.
Yeah, but his presence in it is just it's felt. He doesn't even have any dialogue in this last scene. He just like is like grunting and pointing at the desk because he wants to shoot himself because he's like, okay, I've had enough. Yeah,
because this motherfucker looks like he's about 900 years old. It's that thing where we're like they're still not great at de-aging. Like you can do it, but it doesn't usually completely look right. But making someone look older is also not easy, and they did a really good job of aging him up to look like nearly like he's withering away. It's funny because they had the D23 over the weekend, and they were talking about
Thunderbolts,
or not even that, the new Indiana Jones movie, or how they.
I didn't watch the stuff, but I heard
they're going to be de-aging Harrison Ford in some of it, and like because they're going to have flashback scenes, right? And I'm like,
how many?
Yeah,
he's like, I'm too old for this. He's like, oh, don't worry, we'll just de-age you. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, and then what we don't know is they actually de-age him for the whole movie, just a little less.
I mean, dude, he is old now. He's like in his 80s, right? Or his late 70s, I think he actually is. But like,
or what we don't know is that they're actually doing the whole like Luke Skywalker thing, and it's just someone else with his face.
Wouldn't be surprised, man. They were talking about. I was watching something about the audio technology they have now to make someone sound like someone
deep
else.
Fakes, right? AI, like, man.
Well, it's like how what do you call him sound like Mark Hamill when he was playing Luke Skywalker, right? In the Mandalorian. So, and in Book of Boba Fett, but they can do a lot, man. And
it's scary because it's going to become like consumer grade at some point, and then how are you going to like the amount of like shitty people that are going to get their hands on that and just fuck over people is fuck.
Dude, I was seeing a whole thing today about this. There's one of the biggest streamers on Twitch like came out, and his like community manager had been fucking him over in the background like for like a long time, and like taking stuff from him and like showing it to other, like his driver's license and like
what
other. Yeah, it was just fucking bonkers shit. And I'm like, And this dude who might have been was an asshole for a long time. He didn't even deserve this. And it's like he was helping pay for her cancer payments, or treatments. And you're like, so someone's taking care of you like this, and you're there's some fucked up people in this world. It's why this, like, I mean, this kind of like, this movie is got the most like unrealistic part of this is the giant 6'8" woman, but like everything else, like, I mean, her ripping Justin Long's head in half was pretty dope, but I don't know how anyone could really do that in real life.
Well, that's where the movie goes into that territory of like, this is over the top, because this whole thing is over the top, and that's why it's checking the boxes at that point. Because if you don't have those moments, then the rest of it almost doesn't work, because those are the like payoff for like the craziness. But then it also right after that makes you feel empathy for her instead. Like it's fucked. It's so good.
They did a lot. I mean, the building sympathy for a fucking killer in these kind of movies doesn't always work, but when it does, it's like the end of like American Werewolf in London, right? Like, where they're gonna shoot the shit out of this dude this dude didn't want this. He didn't want to become this monster.
Didn't another werewolf movie just come out? Like, I heard someone talking about some sort of werewolf movie or something.
Well, they're Marvel's Werewolf by Night. They're doing trailers for over the weekend and stuff like that, and that's like a Halloween thing. And we'll have to talk about that next month.
Yeah, totally.
So like. But that looks cool too, because it's all in black and white and shit like that, and it's just like a one-off kind of thing, you know. Maybe
cool
we just
that they're doing stuff like that though. Like they know they want to create a shit ton of content, but the fact that they're willing to go down that avenue too is really cool, and I appreciate that.
I mean, these aren't exactly well-known characters that Marvel's diving into, like with Werewolf by Night. Even Moon Knight wasn't exactly the most well-known character, right? So they're doing a lot with like cooler out, like after going 10 plus years of things like Iron Man and Thor and stuff.
Those
like
things
that.
get so expensive for them to produce, like, because then you got to pay the same actor years and years and years. Like, look at what like Robert Downey Jr.'s paycheck was just to be in Spider-Man, right? Like it gets to be too much. So then you have to, and to like, they probably have the rights to all these characters now. So acquiring those rights for the lesser known characters is so much cheaper. And because they own like everything, it's just going to make the stock go up for the books and for everything. And it's like, it's all business now, man.
I have enjoyed a lot of the She-Hulk show with, like, even though she looks weird. I haven't watched
it, man. I've heard good things, to be honest. Like everyone that I don't know and allowed internet is the opposite, but everyone I do know is like, what the fuck is everyone talking about? This is actually hilarious and well done. Fuck the CG every once in a while. Who cares? It's actually a good show. Everyone's got to shut the fuck up.
It's just like them shitting all over the Thor Love and Thunder. I had a blast with Thor Love and Thunder, and I guess there's a lot of people who've been shitting on it. I'm like, just enjoy it.
It's kind of a messy movie for sure. It didn't feel like it had its like, it didn't have as well of a footing where like I felt like the first time Taika Waititi got his hands on the Thor movie, he had a really clear idea and a picture of what he wanted to accomplish. And they allowed him to do that. And that's why it was such a good movie. I feel like with this one, he had too much free reign. It's like, no, you killed it. And he's like, well, I could do this and I could do this. And they're like, yeah, sure. Just make it work. And he's like, it kind of felt like he did this, and this. And it was kind of felt like those things.
Movie, and he cut it down to 2.5 hours.
That makes a lot more sense, because it didn't feel like those parts went next to each other. It felt like there's parts missing. Weird. But that makes more sense.
Yep, exactly. So,
director's cut.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could do it with Snyder's cut, man. It's, I don't know. Marvel's been bad at like putting out director's cuts of stuff, or like the Spider-Man releases didn't have any of all that extra shit that they had shot for.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know why they're like. I don't know if it's like the Disney thing, so they can re-release it in 10 years or something with all that stuff or whatnot. But who fucking knows?
Business.
Yeah. So are we gonna do X Pearl next week then?
Sure. I'll probably like find a way to see. It is a busy time in my life right now. It's getting busier, and it's gonna get even busier here in a little bit, which I'm totally excited for and down for. So, but whenever a new movie comes out, like in the horror genre, we're in the best part of the year for it. So let's just say yes. And if it doesn't end up happening, there's always there's a lot of fallback that we can do. But I really am excited to see this one for sure.
Dude, I want to see. There's stuff on Shudder I can definitely pick out. Like, I want to see the Glory Hole movie with the guy from.
I almost watched it one night, but I got like 20 minutes in and then turned it off and did some YouTube and went to bed instead.
Yeah, we're getting old, man. We have our bedtimes. We have our
Well, I've been biking too much, and then I just I start looking at the clock as I turn something on, and I'm like, I don't want to not watch this if I turn it on, right? So
that's like we did that with the they released that extra Sandman episode, and it's all like the cats and shit like that. And like my wife and I put it on one night, and we're like, I was like, I'm too tired for this shit, because it was like a 90-minute episode or something like that. And so that's
how I felt with Stranger Things. Like we were trying to really push through it, and then as soon as the last 2 episodes or whatever came out, I was just like, wait a second, they're like 3 hours each? What the fuck is this? Like, holy shit.
The song that never
like that's crazy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, and I think Flanagan's shit is coming out here in the next couple months also. So it's like there's a lot.
What about Del Toro's shit too? Like he's got some sort of like mini series coming out too.
Dude. We're gonna be doing a lot of new content. I think it's gonna be we're gonna have to go like hard at like beginning of next year for like old shit or like foreign shit or something. We don't have to, but
well, no, I mean, like, don't feel bad that we're being so current. No, but like, it's totally not in our whatever we don't even have show notes or like a fucking thing that says anything. We've totally just like, we're horror.
Yep. Exactly. Okay, motherfucker. I'm B. I know you're B. And we. So we're gonna try to do Pearl next week. If we can't, we'll tweet out. So watch on the old Twitter, and we'll explain it. But
as the literal tumbleweeds are going past in our Discord, don't go there.
Just go to my Discord is where most of the stuff happens. But don't
leave it up to me because I forget Discord exists so often.
I know, and I love you. So go follow us on YouTube. Go give us a like and a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to us. Murdermoose.com. We got JoshWRB.com, JoshWRB on Twitter and Twitch and all that stuff. Josh was putting out more banging drum videos I saw on TikTok here. Or was it TikTok? You put it on
Instagram.
Oh, was it Instagram? Okay.
I'm doing the reels.
Oh, okay. And I'm Rod_Johnson everywhere. So come follow me. Come join my Discord. Where a lot of Murder Moose shit is. So okay, motherfuckers. Josh, I love your face. I'm sorry that we're both cranky sometimes, but we love each other. And
hey, I love you, Rod. Seriously. We're both just okay, context here. We didn't talk about anything, and he was just sitting there waiting for me, like getting more and more angry for like a fucking hour. And I'm just like, I'm busy. We didn't talk about it. So hey, we're here. We got through it, and we love each other. That's it. So hey,
it's exactly it. So we'll catch you guys next week for Pearl.
Bye.